Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. The DeAndre Ayton slander has to stop. It's got to stop. I have had far too many discussions, arguments, debates, conversations about people slandering this man's name. People act like he's not a legitimate 7'1", 250 pounds, 7'5" wingspan, 40-inch vertical, incredible agility, nimbleness, light on his feet, can run down the floor like a gazelle, can jump over guys for tip-ins, has a jump hook with his right and left hand, a beautiful butter 8 to 16 foot jump shot, can guard on the perimeter defensively, switch between forwards and bigs and guards, can defend the rim, can hold up. And let me just emphasize, hold up in the playoffs. He doesn't disappear. He doesn't get played off the court. He doesn't get targeted. He's somebody who legitimately is a championship level center. I'm going to dive into this in this video. If you enjoy it, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Look, people understand that there are levels to the game of basketball. There are players who are players, legitimate players, right? These are rotation guys. Then there are guys who are good players. I mean, better than your average. And these are your starters in the NBA. And then there's your star players. These star players are better than pretty much the majority of the NBA outside of the handful of superstar players. And the superstar players have the ability to go toe-to-toe with absolutely anybody. Anybody. It does not matter who it is. You could throw Michael Jordan in his prime. They can go toe-to-toe with him. You could throw Magic Johnson. You could throw any Hall of Fame, all-time great player. They can go toe-to-toe with them. Bucket for bucket. It doesn't matter the situation. This is a handful of players in the NBA. Handful at a time. We all saw how Michael Jordan made Clyde Drexler look. Right? Clyde is a Hall of Fame player. He's not Michael Jordan. There's a handful. There's a LeBron Jameses. There's a Kawhi Leonard. There's a Kevin Durant. Those guys are on a different level than the Devin Bookers and the Jason Tatums and the guys who might disappear for a game and not know what to do and guys who shy away from the moment. And some people grow into this and some people don't. But even then, you're looking at 7 to 10 guys who are at the cream of the crop of maybe the top 20, 25, 30 guys who will make an all-star team. And those top 30 are above the other, 250 players? 30 times 15, something like that. 300, 450 players. You have to understand that when you start talking about a player, you need to start with how good they are. If they are in the NBA, they are already one of the best players in the entire world. You have to understand that the NBA scouts now is beyond global. It is saturated globally. If you got game, size, athleticism, and are dominating, we probably know who you are. And when I say we, I'm talking about the NBA. In the digital age, with media and marketing, somebody could post a video and we can discover a 6'9" skinny Giannis Antetokounmpo in some backyard gym playing against a bunch of short guys. We can discover a Zion Williamson at 6'6", 280, 290 pounds playing a bunch of 4'11", 145 pounds soaking wet white kids in a gym and spot that talent. So by the time that a guy matriculates into the NBA, we already know that they are a bona fide great player in comparison to the rest of the world. And then when you get into the NBA, when you're getting selected at the top of your draft, remember DeAndre Ayton went number 1 over Luka. over Trae Young. Out of those three, who's been to an NBA Finals? I'll wait. You see, it's harder to find somebody who can do what DeAndre Ayton does at his size than it is to find somebody who does what Trae Young does, or even what Luka does. I will give you this. There is probably a handful. There are 2 centers in the NBA who have that level of an offensive defensive game. All-star level offensively and defensively as a 7-foot center. There are 2. Joel Embiid and DeAndre Ayton. Then there's only maybe 3 who have the defensive level. Bam Adebayo, DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid. And if you want to talk about just offense, it's probably 3. DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. You get my drift. He is a top 5 NBA center. If he was on any other team, he'd be all NBA, all-star by now. But Phoenix, we all know the troubles and the obstacles that they face as an organization when it comes to trying to win, right? They barely got out from under a terrible owner and Robert Sarver to try to get things on track. DeAndre Ayton, you drop him with the Washington Wizards right now. 3rd team All-NBA at least, bare minimum. Competing with Joel Embiid for that 2nd team. You drop him with the Atlanta Hawks, Indiana Pacers. Shoot, you drop him with the Charlotte Hornets. You switch out DeAndre Ayton for the Sacramento Kings last season in the playoffs. The Sacramento Kings beat the Warriors. I'll say it again. You switch out DeAndre Ayton for Domantas Sabonis on the Sacramento Kings right now. Last season, in the playoffs, they beat the Golden State Warriors. There are levels to this. There are levels to this. You see, sometimes I think people start looking at contracts and they get really sucked into the ESPN narrative of who's worth and what their value is. I'll say it again and again and again. These ownership organizations are making billions. What they pay their players collectively, all the players. I'm talking about the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, right? I don't care how big you think the taxes for the Golden State Warriors, how much it costs to pay Clay, Steph, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, all the above. You take all of that plus the tax, it's still not hitting 50% of what Joe Lacob made last year with the Golden State Warriors. Probably is getting close to 40%. So when you start talking about what a player is worth, remember that one player is not getting 40%. They're probably getting, and this is the max contract, it's probably seeing 6%. 6%. 7%. Of what the ownership group is making. So by the time you start talking about these contracts and what a player is worth, make sure you also speak on how much the organization is making off of them. Why do the Los Angeles Lakers not mind going above the tax threshold? Because they know how much LeBron James is worth. They know how much they're making because he fills seats in those stands. That the television deal goes up because you have LeBron James. Y'all need to start understanding when you start talking about this financial money game and stop thinking like checkers. Start thinking like businessmen. These players make far more for their organization than they will ever get paid. Ever. But let's just talk about the talent. Have you watched a highlight reel of DeAndre Ayton? Have y'all watched, some of y'all talking about he can't run up and down the floor like this guy. Who? He doesn't defend the rim like who? He's not able to rebound like who? He's not as tough as physical as who? Don't just compare him to one player. Don't just compare him to one player. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And we could debate this. You switch DeAndre Ayton for Bam Adebayo. Miami Heat might have an NBA championship by now. I'll say it again. You switch out DeAndre Ayton for Bam Adebayo. The Miami Heat might have a championship already. How many times were we searching for and needing Bam Adebayo to be able to be more aggressive offensively? We know what he does defensively. And I already said Bam Adebayo is right there, if not maybe a little bit above DeAndre Ayton defensively because of his switchability, even though he does get exploited by bigger players because of his lack of size at only 6'9". DeAndre Ayton is not getting exposed because of a lack of height. He's not getting dwarfed. He doesn't look like a small forward when he's facing these bigger guys. He holds his own. Even in that Milwaukee NBA Finals series, he was going up by himself against Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez. 7'2", 6'11", 7 feet. And he held his own against two and PJ Tucker. So by the time you start criticizing somebody's game, make sure you start with how good they already are. Right now, I got DeAndre Ayton as a top 4 NBA center. And y'all, catch this. The boy's only 24 years old. He's only 24 years old. We all know that big men take longer to develop in the NBA. How long did it take for Nikola Jokic to start shining at this level and make an all-star game? How long did it take Joel Embiid? Bam Adebayo? DeAndre Ayton is 24. Freakish agility, athleticism, mobility. And y'all are criticizing him because he's not Embiid. Embiid ain't even who you think Embiid is. Embiid disappears. He ain't even been to an NBA Finals. And he's had better rosters than DeAndre Ayton that surround him. What are we talking about? Put some respect on my man's name before you start criticizing him. The slander stops today. Holler at me in the comment section if you agree, disagree. And I'm going to get at y'all next time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. This is Ross with The Rock Never Stops, and I'm out.